A good risk appetite statement is a very powerful tool. Dear listeners and watchers, hello everyone, and a warm welcome to episode number 26 of the Megrow podcast. It's early March 2022 and oh sin, I've fallen behind my usual monthly publishing schedule. Finally, never mind, here is the most recent show of our mini ERM knowledge series. LinkedIn recently is buzzing with articles that are very critical about the raison d'etre of risk appetite statements and risk matrices. I'm sharing some of that criticism. However, I'm a great fan of well-gauged and crisp risk appetite statements. Hence, this very episode is a go-to-bat for good risk appetite statements. I've witnessed many instances when a diligently crafted, well-communicated risk appetite statement helped organizations greatly to make important decisions and to make them well. On the other hand, I have to say, unfortunately, bloated and excessively vague risk appetite statements full of corporate guff are aplenty. Hence the question arises, what is a good risk appetite statement, which I will refer to as a RAS going forward for the rest of this podcast. So what is it actually? Imagine a water glass. The maximum risk-bearing capacity is reached when the glass is full up to the brim. And yes, for all the nerds, surface tension is accounted for. If you add more fluid, the liquid will overflow and you must look for solutions, such as getting either a bigger glass or deal with the results of the overflow. On the other hand, leaving the glass empty is equivalent to not taking any risk at all, which is not a viable proposition for almost any organization. The decision, that's the important point, on how far you want to fill up the glass is, in most cases, up to each organization. And the risk appetite statement describes how far up you are willing to fill up the proverbial glass. Now that we know what risk appetite is, we can move on to packing it into a statement. Many well-known knowledge leaders, such as the IRM of the UK, have published great brochures how to write RAS. Please make use of that, they're freely downloadable from their websites. I pick what I consider a few key ingredients of good RAS and comment on them. My comments mainly pertain to corporate RAS, i.e. the document that is ultimately approved by the board of directors. Of course, other more RAS do exist in organizations as well, but I'm focusing on the high-level, top-level RAS. So first and foremost, risk management is most meaningful and most effective and efficient when connected to a purpose. Hence, your risk appetite statement needs to reflect the purpose of your organization. Let's take the purpose point back to the glass analogy and spin it a little further. If you're an athlete who wants to build muscle, you have a certain appetite. If on the other hand you're on a diet, your appetite is quite different. Hence, your circumstances are the purpose, and that then is reflected in the appetite statement. So in other words, risk appetite statements are different for almost any organization. Also bear the famous PACE acronym for good ERM in mind. Your risk appetite statement also must be paced. In other words, too much is inefficient and too little is potentially harmful. Next point. The longer and more sophisticated your RAS is, the fewer people will read it, understand it, and embrace it. So keep it as crisp as possible. The top-level RAS guides your organization through strategic and key operational decisions. In other words, phrase it to reflect this purpose of the RAS. Avoid the well-known fallacy to pack each and every operational detail into your high-level corporate RAS. And last but not least, you must also ensure that any other risk appetite statements or guidelines or rules that you have fall within the top-level RAS and do definitely not contradict it. So architecting a meaningful RAS is not an easy, it's a bit of a demanding journey. However, trust me on this, really take my word for this. A good BOD approved and embraced RAS will outweigh the upfront costs by leaps and bounds. I've seen more than enough examples that prove this. If you're not sure what your appetite is and how to phrase it, contact us via the links below. We're energetic and experienced in all matters ERM, and we've successfully worked on RAS with our clients. In the meantime, enjoy whatever you're doing, stay safe and stay tuned for our next episode, which is due for release in April 2022. Good, bye for now.